This is New Rural Virginia, reclaiming rural leadership through conversation featuring real voices, real issues from the heart of the Commonwealth. And we are back. You're listening to another episode of New Rural Virginia podcast. I'm Parson Brown.
And I am Larry Wohlers, and we are your newly thawed out podcast hosts after month of eternal winter.
I'm upset with that groundhog still. I'm disgruntled with the groundhog.
That's right. But Parson, the word on the country roads is you've been down in Richmond. What's going on there?
Yeah, last week I had an opportunity to go to Richmond. I met up with folks from the Virginia Data Center Reform Coalition. It was hosted by the Piedmont Environmental Council, and I was invited by the Alliance for Appalachia. It was folks from all across the Commonwealth that came together to lobby and discuss data centers with our representatives, folks that bussed in from Northern Virginia. Folks were driving in from every hill and holler from across the whole state. And I think I was a little surprised. I might have been the only person in the room from Warren County, but it was really great. So many people from different organizations. And I got to say something about the Piedmont Environmental Council. Those folks really understand the information. They have really got a grasp on data centers in a way that I was delighted.
That's right. They are great.
In a nutshell, there are multiple bills in the General Assembly right now, and they mostly just address state oversight, transparency, ratepayer protections, and sales tax exemptions. The patron of one of the bills is Delegate Josh Thomas, who we've had on the podcast before, so it was nice to see him. Anyway, the point is that there's a huge conversation about data centers going on in the Commonwealth, and it was really refreshing to meet up with folks that are taking action and having those conversations.
Okay.
If you all want to get more information on data centers in the Virginia Data Center Reform Coalition, check out pecva.org/data centers, and I'll put it in our episode notes.
That sounds like a great idea because data centers is really important. It's going to continue to be so.
And just an update, because we did record this on Sunday, the 16th of February. And since then, Samuel's Public Library has been successfully funded again. And it was a huge victory for the people in the coalition that spanned across political aisles. And we talk about that in this episode's discussion.
This is your public library in Front Royal, right?
Yeah.
That's great news.
Yeah.
And really great testimony to what local people can do to make a difference.
Absolutely. Unprecedented work done from both parties in our hometown. Very proud of my community. Now that we've put that into context, let's dive into our previously recorded conversation.
That's right. We have, been interviewing a lot of candidates, and they're great, but they don't get very far without the foot soldiers on the ground.
Right.
And those foot soldiers are the county committees. They're the ones who know their communities, right? And they're out there talking to people every day, not during campaign season.
And if the county committees are the foot soldiers, it is certainly the county committee chairs and co-chairs that are the generals. Today we have Kris Nelson and Jessica Reynolds, two people that I know quite well and appreciate tremendously, the chair and vice chair of the Warren County Democratic Committee.
Yes, Kris and Jessica, welcome.
Thanks.
Excited.
Thank you for having us on. I appreciate it.
Hey, y'all.
Yes, looking forward to it. As we have a lot of listeners who are from more urban areas, and I'm sure they have no idea what it's like to be running a Democratic county committee in a rural county. So what is it like? What keeps you doing it? I think I'm just guessing here, but it's probably not the salary. What makes you excited to keep on doing it?
Definitely not the salary. It's hard. It's hard work. It's Warren County runs about 70-30 Republican. And every day it's a battle. We battle every day. Every day that we leave our homes, it's a battle. And how you keep going is because when you meet someone that has never heard about our committee or even knew that we existed, and they say, oh my God, we found our people. And that is why that is what keeps me going, is because you have to build community. That is one thing that the Republicans are very strong at, if giving community to people. And Democrats in rural spaces in red districts have to learn how to start giving community to their people too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a long game for sure. Like our victories definitely look a little bit different than, an overnight flip of a seat. But but that comes from knocking thousands of doors, doing thousands of postcards, thousands of phone calls. And it sounds like a lot of work, and it is, but I mean, you got to be all in out here, and it's not for the faint of heart at all. But I think what keeps me going is we are just this landing place for our people sometimes, I think. And you can see them relax when they get to sit down and vent and know that they are in a good space with like-minded people. And sometimes we become therapists. So I love to see that.
The reality is that there are far too often less resources and less physical people that are Democrats. There's less just bodies in the seats.
Yeah. You definitely have to get stealthy on the resources. They're very, very few. Virginia is great. I love my state, born and raised Virginian, but they do neglect the rural areas a lot on campaigns. They go where the blue voters are. So, we've been known to go and, take what's ours at a time or two from other blue areas. Because you have to, and the resources are difficult.
Yeah, that's something that sometimes I think maybe our urban listeners, our allies throughout the Commonwealth that aren't active in or living and working in our rural communities, they just don't understand, what are some of the differences between running a committee, a Democratic committee, in a rural community that really would sharpen the difference for our folks to know in Northern Virginia?
Money.
Yeah.
Money.
It's all about money, right? Yeah.
Money. If you go through and, you can look at budgets of Fairfax County, and their budgets are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have, usually about a $5,000 running account. And what happens is when we are lacked on those resources from the candidates or the state party, we have to make up the difference. And we pay for that out of that $5,000 pot. So it's very, it's very hard. But money and people, we have, our own canvassers and phone bankers, but it's nothing compared when you're talking about an 80-20 Fairfax County.
And those are folks that show up from
oh my God, we just celebrated a birthday for our 90-year-old longtime committee member, and he knocked on two turfs last year, I think. Jess?
Yes, he did. Yeah, in 100-degree weather.
100-degree weather, midsummer, and he was out there canvassing.
In a community where you're outnumbered, it really takes a lot of commitment and supporting each other.
Right.
There are positives, though, to having smaller committees. We don't argue. We don't fight.
Right.
We are able to brainstorm, push out ideas, know that your voice is always heard. If you go to a larger committee meeting, there's arguing. There's usually paper being thrown. There is shenanigans happen at those larger. So we know each other's families. We know their children. We know when their birthdays are and celebrate anniversaries with them too. So the tightness is really, really good. I couldn't imagine being chair of a, 5,000 person committee.
Right. I will say our members are just always so generous. When we are a little low in that bank account, they always come through, every single one of them.
Wow, that's impressive. I remember back in the day when people would say that all politics are local, right? And that's kind of changed in recent years. Social media has really kind of nationalized our news a bit. But there are still local issues that really matter, right? And where local committees and folks such as yourself can really make a difference. What does that look like in Warren County?
Oh, boy. That looks like
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it sure is.
It was meant to be.
That looks like the most extremist of extreme. We have a fraction here in Warren County that came after our library 2.5 years ago. They wanted gay books removed and they flooded with removal requests and Board of Supervisors meetings. And at the time, many of those extremists were sitting on our board, and they defunded Samuel's library, that is the second oldest library in Virginia. And so they have been on their own for the past year trying to fund themselves because of this. And we have battled, we gathered folks, we went in, and we were able to organize well enough and find great candidates that we knew that could be elected by both Democrats, Republicans, Independents, that wanted to preserve what Warren County has stood for years in the history and our library, and not to that extreme step that they took. After 2.5 years of doing this, last year, we were able to take the Board of Supervisors majority. And as of tomorrow, we will be officially funding our library and taking it back straight through elections. And that's the reason why,
Yeah.
Right.
Just a note, we are recording this on Monday, February 16th. So by the time we air this, perhaps we will know the outcome of that. Kris and Jessica, to articulate what it took to put this plan in motion, and you guys actually worked across the aisle in ways it's very unique for, and I was involved. I was there for much of this, so I saw it happen myself. We were able, as a county, as a community, to build a coalition across the aisle, working with local Republicans. Enlighten folks on that process, because sometimes I tell people about how that shaked out and they don't really quite grasp it.
Well, for one, you got to put national politics in a box for a minute. I mean, and I'm not saying that our national issues are not important. They truly are. But if you need to build a movement to fix an issue in your local community, you have to separate it. Otherwise, the entire community is just going to lose. So we had to put boxes in our hearts and our brains, I think, and that's how we did it.
We were able to find really good Republican candidates that cared about what was happening internally with our community. The extremists always take it a bridge too far. You know, they always got to take a little bit more. And they themselves were getting disgusted with it. So we were able to coalesce with the non-extremist Republicans. Other groups, Save Samuel's Library, got together and made a PAC. We had another Republican committee that sort of left their standard Republican committee and made another resource for them. And it was all of us that got together and said, we're finished with this. These are the candidates that we're going to put up. We worked tirelessly for a year to get these candidates elected, and we killed them in the end. It was a 60-40 split, and they're fantastic.
Right. You know, it's so important what you're talking about, because if you look through our history as a country, you know, solving difficult problems is about figuring out how to work and build a coalition with people who you don't agree with on every issue, or even on most issues, right? And if you're in Northern Virginia around D.C., you don't have to do that. Right? Because you're always in the majority. But around here you do, and that's really extraordinary what you've done there, and yet really important.
Yeah. And having a Republican committee split in the way that they did, they also knew that they needed us.
Right.
You know, we were able to vote in their primary and, you know, all of that. But the way that it has come out now is we're looking now towards, okay, we have town council elections. We've got 2027 Board of Supervisors elections. What else is happening in the community that we can do to work together to keep moving forward and pushing that back, showing them, look, this is us, this is you, we're going to beat you every time.
Yeah. It was really interesting because it put folks in spaces together, you know, meetings and public meetings and also strategy sessions that would not perhaps have otherwise been, like that might not have happened. You know, there's some of the Republican leadership in our county that otherwise, if we had not been united on the issue of the public library, that I might never have known. And now there's like this new sort of energy where we smile and say hello to each other in places because we're neighbors. That was just, it's so positive that happened in our county.
One of the best things that's happened since then is the conversations after. Now they trust, we trust each other, and we can talk a little bit about other issues. The redistricting that's getting ready to happen. I had a conversation with one of them today and said, tell me what this is, because they believe me now. They trust what I'm telling them is true. And that is going to go a long way with getting our schools funded and trying to break away from the noise of the misinformation and all the spread of lies and all of that too. So we're going to move. We're going to go.
Right. That's what I was going to say, Kris. It's all about, I mean, we've been out in the community. People have seen us, maybe as Democrats, maybe they didn't want to talk to us, but they have seen us out there. And we have built a lot of trust. And one thing I will say that other side recognizes, even in Democrats, is love for the community and loyalty to the community. So when they see us out there trying to do good for the community, it's like they don't mind what we're thinking about some other things. They know that they can go to us and say, hey, help us. And what do you say, Kris? We are
the difference.
Yep.
We are not powerless. We are the difference.
Warren County has a friendship with neighboring Democratic committees that is so strong and has always been very striking to me, with Shenandoah, Page County, Clark County. Tell me a little bit how that coalition has come together.
Get on the phone, call them on the phone, set up signal chats, Facebook groups, whatever you have to do. Your other chairs in your area, they may not have the specific issue that you do. None of our surrounding areas have our specific issue like we did about the library, but they had a lot of school board issues. So we would talk and try to organize and share ideas, and then they would support. They came here at our Board of Supervisors meeting to talk about them not taking our library. We would go there, especially Shenandoah County that's had nothing but problems with their school board. But when you're running 70-30 in small districts, you want to show up in masses. And the best way to do that is by going all together. And it could be something fun too, parades, having a bigger force. It's all about what you think it looks like to people too. So our local chairs are amazing. I can call them with any issue. If they don't know the answer, they're going to find the answer. And I couldn't do this without them.
Well, speaking of that, you are on the board of the Democratic Rural Caucus and on its community engagement and empowerment subcommittee.
Yep.
It really feels like that Rural Caucus has really grown into a new and more important role this year. Tell us a little bit more about that and what you're focusing on in that context.
Well, I'm the vice chair of community engagement, and Kris is the vice chair for membership, and we are co-chairs of the subcommittee for rural engagement and empowerment. And what we are currently working on with our group, we have 9 other members that are part of our committee. And our idea is we are going to try to visit or at least connect with every single locality in the Commonwealth. That's a big ask, but there's 9 of us. So between Zoom and, getting in the car and going, we think we can do it. So what we're going to do when we get there, we're going to talk to them about the Rural Caucus, let them know what we could do for them, how they can come and join us. And we hope to be able to get them some resources, especially some of these other rural committees that may not have the ability or they don't have the good rapport with other county committees like we do here in Warren with Shenandoah and Clark and everybody, and get them connected to each other, help them with resources, ask them what they need. Can we help you with any messaging? Can we help you? Do you need to bring in some volunteers? It all depends on the locality and what they need. And there's another subcommittee called Policy and Communications, and they are, shameless plug here, they're about to drop their monthly newsletter, and you're going to see a newsletter if you're part of the Rural Caucus every single month, and they're going to spotlight communities.
It's so good too.
Now is the perfect time to encourage everybody to look into joining the Virginia Rural Caucus. And also, New Rural Virginia is really proud to be a sponsor of the upcoming Rural Retreat, which is a gathering of rural communities and folks across the Commonwealth that is coming up. And y'all, when is that, and how can people get information and sign up to be there and to be sponsors?
May 1st through the 3rd. It's going to be at Wintergreen this year. We have a website where you can buy your tickets.
It is the Rural Caucus DPVA.org.
There you go.
And you're on Facebook as well.
Yes, we are on Facebook.
We're so glad to support that this year. And so check that out.
And just so you know, the Rural Retreat is open to anyone, not just rural people. It is for anyone that is a friend of rural communities. And we invite everybody. And we keep gaining support from all over the Commonwealth. And we're just so proud of what it's become. So I don't care if you're in Arlington, come to the Rural Retreat.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And thank you for mentioning that. This podcast would not have ever started if Larry and I had not met at the Rural Retreat, and you two specifically had not invited me to join you last time.
That was so much fun last year. Also, to plug Virginia Fair elections. Early voting starts March 6th. The election day is April 21st. Vote yes. Tell everyone that you know. Democrats are the party of workers. We're still blue collar, working class. Somewhere along the way,
we lost trust.
Yeah, we did. And we've made mistakes. But when you look at both parties, there's two. One really is for the people. And one really is for corporations and rich people. And you not just see that through legislation, but you see it where the districts are the reddest. And I think that we can get them back through fulfilling promises because of that trust factor. When Virginia went blue, and the very first piece of legislation that we were able to get through was raising minimum wage. Getting family leave taken care of. All of those things affect people's pockets so much, and small businesses for sure. Republicans like to say, what about the small businesses when we're raising the minimum wage? I'm telling you, they can do both. They really can. Right. They can do it through payroll taxes. They can do so many things, but the dignity that you give somebody when they get a paycheck and they're able to pay every single one of their bills, right, maybe have $25 left at the end of the week, that is dignity. And I think the Democrats are the party to deliver that.
And local small businesses do better when their workers and their customers have enough money in their wallets, right?
That's right.
When we come in and we talk to constituents, Democrats in general, the rural we're not stand a minute, like sit down, talk to people. We need to be part of the community and partners with our constituents, I think. And that will regain a little bit more trust.
Yeah, we say on here, and we say a lot in Warren County, the real goal is to be good neighbors, right? To lift our community together and be a good neighbor. And the blue and red labels tend to sort of fade away when you are able to reach somebody as a neighbor. At least I've found.
I think so for sure. And that goes back to, what we've done working with the Republicans here in Warren County. You earn a trust factor. If you know your neighbor and they could be a Trumper and you could never speak a word to them, if their house is on fire, you are going to help them put out their fire.
That's right.
You are going to have a conversation with them after. You are going to start building a relationship with them. And then you start sharing ideas and information, and we start seeing, oh, well, crap, maybe that wasn't the, truest information that I thought it was, because there is a different perspective. We're all living in such little small silos of algorithms and Facebook.
Echo chambers.
Yes.
Emancipate ourselves from those echo chambers.
That's right.
Phrase I've been trying to coin.
So speaking of our silos changing, the new district maps are out. And Virginia Supreme Court has just decided to let the referendum on those maps go forward. So we, the voters, are actually going to have the final say about that. And that's going to happen in April. But these new maps are going to have a big impact, I think, especially on rural Virginia. In our case, it's going to mean that me here in Rappahannock and you folks are going to be a part of the same district.
Yeah.
That's going to stretch all the way from Fairfax over the Shenandoah Valley. And I'm guessing, rural folks, they're a little skeptical about change. They're going to say, hey, what's going on here? What is the case for why our neighbors should support this?
Well, I'm just going to say, I don't know what representation that some of the Democrats out here think that they're going to lose by getting a congressman from Northern Virginia. We don't have representation now. So what are you losing? You're losing nothing. So bring it. I'm ready for it. I'm excited about it.
Living for the maps. The maps are fantastic. They make me cry. They're so beautiful. I'm sad that it's only hopefully going to pass for 5 years, because I think that not only can we have better representation, but we can also do a lot of bridge building with our city neighbors here in Virginia. A lot of us don't understand what it's like living in those areas. And I think there's a lot of information to share. I think that people that live in Fairfax County have 5 hospitals surrounding them with the, world-class NICUs for brand new babies. Our ladies are having babies on the side of the road to the tune of 5 a month, because we do not have maternity care, and they don't know that. They don't know that we don't have maternity care. Why would they know? They would have no idea.
Right.
And I do think that sharing those kinds of things will also bring resources. I think that they would be more open to saying, hey, look, we can also fundraise this money. You guys take this. So I think the resources would be spread out better, and that they would be more willing to help.
And that goes the other way too, because us out here, we don't know what they go through in Northern Virginia. And I mean, we can throw me right under the bus that Kris and I were having a conversation about the gas leaf blowers, and I didn't think it was a big deal. And I'm like, why does it even matter? Just let them have their gas leaf blowers.
They're terrible things.
And what did you tell me, Kris?
They're terrible. You cannot sit in your house with your windows opened with a gas leaf blower going. All the smoke and smell and everything takes up your whole entire house. Like, there's reasons. It's terrible things.
That's just the point. We don't know what they go through. They don't know what we go through.
Yeah.
These are opportunities to bring communities together. Y'all had Representative Walkinshaw at your last meeting in Warren County.
We did.
And, he admitted that he hadn't spent a whole lot of time in Front Royal, Virginia, but welcome to town, man. And I think he was very open to us. And our committee meetings I don't know how other committees run their meetings, but ours are real special. We just get it all out there.
Yeah, we're very chill and laid back and very frank about things. And
Cussing's allowed.
Yeah, cussing's allowed. Yes, Congressman Walkinshaw was fantastic. He reached right out. I think it was the day after the maps were released.
That's
said, hey, we want to get you out. I want to get out there ASAP. And I was able to get him on to our schedule last Saturday. He was so great. He was so laid back. He fit into the environment very well. I hope it shows people that this is the kind of representation that we can have. And they're not all stuffy suits. Like he wasn't. He was
not at all.
He was like one of us. He was very comfortable to be around. And he does have a challenger, Bree Fram. She is going to be here in March. So we're looking forward to hosting the other candidate in the 11th district as well.
But he went around the room as soon as he got there. He didn't wait for any of us to direct him in any way. He went around and shook everybody's hand in that room. And I know they felt seen and appreciated. We don't get the visibility of congressmen out in our area.
Yeah.
Well, he actually got out of his car, and the first person he met was actually my
Your mom.
And he chivalrously escorted my mom into the building, which now she's, totally Twitter-pated. It was Valentine's Day.
It was. And I saw them walking up, and I was like, oh, he found Miss Jennifer.
And hopefully we're going to be having Representative Walkinshaw on the podcast very shortly. He agreed to come on, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I'm really intrigued. Yes, I'm really intrigued by your point that maybe we should be breaking down our silos between urban and rural, and we can both learn from each other and help each other out. And this could be a very good thing.
I think it's going to be a great thing. I think that it is going to be one of the best things that has happened to Virginia in a very long time. Just for the bridge building alone, just to get to know each other.
Yeah.
We'll be sitting on Central Committee, Jess. You want to talk about that?
Oh, yes. I am a member of the Congressional District 6. Let me spell it out instead of just saying CD6. Committee, and with that seat I get a seat on the Central Committee, the DPVA Central Committee, and we meet 4 times a year and we vote on numerous different things. We'll vote to change bylaws. We actually vote in the new state party chair when that time comes up. I was lucky enough to be able to help vote in Lamont Bagby as chair. And right now, we're going to hold off on the reorganization of the congressional committees because of all the redistricting. So they're stuck with me at least for another year sitting on there.
I was going to say, but also, so when we have our committees, our congressional districts, it's all just within that congressional district. And the way that the maps are broken down now, it is all rural in CD6.
Yes.
Right.
All the way around. But now that same committee is going to be spread from here to there. And all of those voices are going to be able to talk and share ideas and discuss things. And it's going to be great.
The only thing I will say about that is I think the one thing we all have to remember, candidates, electeds, all in general, I think everyone has to trust local knowledge, because it is a big district. Obviously, we don't, I mean, heck, from one rural locality to the other doesn't need the same thing. So when you're talking a big district like this, as long as our elected officials and our candidates come in and they support solutions that come from within the community, I think will be great.
And then I think it's going to be true in spades this year, because with all of these changes happening pretty darn close to the elections, right? Candidates and their voters aren't going to have a lot of time to get to know each other and to get to know their new districts. And that is going to mean that county committees such as yourselves are going to be, 2 or 3 times more important than they ever were.
We might lessen a little bit of that election fatigue too. Everybody's getting emails and phone calls, 6 months, 7 months out of the year. I don't know. Maybe they'll pay attention a little more if they were only beating their head on the wall for, 3 months as opposed to 6.
Well, this year we have 3 elections happening in Virginia. We're already,
Right.
have one every single year where most states do not, but we're going to do it exceptionally well this year with 3.
That's right. The referendum, and of course there'll be other issues
And then the primary.
on that, and then the primary. Yes. Well, I guess we'll just all have to set up air mattresses next to the voting booths.
Well, if anybody knows about being there, when I say dawn till dusk, that doesn't even cover it. I've seen what y'all do, and you inspire folks in our county to put their time and efforts into organizing. You don't generate that without good leadership. And I guess my one last question that I have is, what would you say to other chairs and vice chairs across the Commonwealth if you just had a message or advice or anything for them? Not that maybe they need it, but I feel like y'all have got a good system working in Warren County.
Get loud. And don't be afraid to take up space.
Yep. And that means get you a table and go to your little local festivals, and you set that table down in that road and you sit there and you talk to people. And then you find yourself a banner or write it on a poster board of who you are, and you get out there and you be visible.
That's right. And it sounds like on the issues that really matter locally, you got to build the coalitions
You do.
that people don't expect you to be able to build.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best solidarity. And y'all are my neighbors, and y'all know I love you.
We love you, Parson.
Okay. So on that note, thanks very much. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
New Rural Virginia Podcast, Conversations about Rural Virginia's Future, is a product of New Rural Virginia. Visit newruralva.org for more. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow us. We're available anywhere you get your audio. For deeper dives into the topics we cover, catch additional insights and stories on the Rural Angles Substack newsletter. This program is produced by Larry Wohlers and yours truly, Parson Brown. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode.